Greg McGrath, Gaudy, Sue today. As you mentioned during your remarks, Algoma Steel is working to bring the electric arc furnace online in the next couple of years.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, there's a looming trade war with the United States and the industrial carbon tax in place. Wondering if in your plans to support Canadian industries, you would consider exempting companies from the industrial carbon tax, particularly like ones like Algoma Steel, which are actively working towards having greener technologies in place.
Let's see.
In the near future.
So what's happening is that there's a couple things here. One is that there's a value to that industrial carbon tax in the predictability of that tax and the certainty around. It encourages the types of investments that help companies such as Algoma leapfrog their competitors, and leapfrog in many cases their American competitors, but international competitors. That help companies such as Algoma.
What we're going to do is make sure not that the government pays, not that we as taxpayers pay, but the large polluters pay.
Does that not ultimately trickle down?
You know, a steel company, how much steel are you using these days, Todd?
What? Steel? How much steel we're using? The steel is everywhere, literally everywhere. Cars, building houses, household stuff, whatever, right? Appliances, everything. The steel is everywhere. So right now we have a carbon tax on the steel, industrial carbon tax, right? That was here before tariffs. So again, remember what I said a couple of times? The tariffs from President Trump are just tip of the iceberg. So the industrial carbon tax, which same like every other carbon tax, is just BS for no reason. Like Canada, not even 150 top in pollution. What are we talking about? So anyway, carbon tax bullshit. Now we have tariffs from President Trump on steel. So the price of the steel is increased by two coefficient, whatever you want to call it. Two things affect the price of the steel in a bad way. Makes it more expensive, right? Which makes our appliances more expensive, cars more expensive, and everything. Do you remember what happened with when the gas got too expensive and they cut down on the provincial sales tax for the gas just to kind of even it out? Well, what's going on with that right now with the steel? So we got slammed with 20% steel tariffs, and Mark Carney is not planning on helping out at all. He's like, no, carbon tax is actually good. And what he actually mentioned, I don't remember how exactly he said, that it's a predictable variable or something like that. So what he means is that he knows how much money he's going to get from the steel industry on these taxes, that he can count on that, which is ridiculous. And then when he's asked how he's going to help out, he how did he say it? Let's just rewind a little bit because it's ridiculous.
Looming trade war with the United States and the industrial carbon tax in place. Wondering if in your plans to support Canadian industries, you would consider exempting companies from the industrial carbon tax, particularly like ones like Algoma Steel, which are actively working towards having greener technologies in place in the near future.
So what's happening is that there's a couple things here. One is that there's a value to that industrial carbon tax in the predictability of that tax and the certainty around. It encourages the types of investments that help companies such as Algoma leapfrog their competitors and leapfrog.
How are they gonna leapfrog the competitors? And again, so you're telling us that the industrial carbon tax goes directly to the Algoma Steel whatever? That's bullshit. Like the carbon tax, same as every other tax money, goes to government, right? So you want to tell me that the government is actually giving money back to Algoma Steel something, whatever? Don't really believe that. And just if we're gonna talk about carbon tax, it's what are we talking? To make a steel, you need a steel making coal. coal is obviously being mined in BC, in Elk Valley, or whatever, right? But it's still not a clean energy. Like, what are you talking about? It's gonna help them, and leapfrog the competition? How? It just doesn't make sense. So show me someone who would rather buy more expensive steel, and not because of the quality, but because of some stupid taxes, in comparison to the steel that's same quality, but it's not slammed by taxes, right? And we're exporting this steel. That's another thing. It's not like we're using 100% of it in Canada. So obviously it's affecting everything. Like, we're exporting it to Asia. Do you think the Asia would rather buy more expensive steel from Canada because of industrial tax, or cheaper steel from US? That's probably the same quality. Like, it's gonna affect everyone. Like, what are we talking about? And the steel is never gonna be a clean product, because again, you need a steel making coal to create steel. And let me just go back to this point, because it's just ridiculous, and it just proves how Mark Carney is just disconnected.
Is make sure not that the government pays, not that we as taxpayers pay, but the large polluters pay.
Does that not ultimately...
What are we talking about, large polluters? And obviously the taxpayers will always pay, because what happens is the products that you steal will get more expensive. Who's going to pay for it? Taxpayers. So in the end, the biggest polluters, even though again Canada over 160 on the list of pollution, the biggest polluters won't pay for it. They will just spike the price, and a consumer will pay for it. So yes, Canadians will pay for it. Like, this is just total lie what he's talking about.
trickle down?
You know, a steel company, how much steel are you using?
How much steel you're using with this smirk? Like, either this is like so disingenuine, and he just thinks about his investments, how much money he's gonna make, or he's very uneducated. Like, both options are really, really bad. Because, yeah, like I said, if you want a prime minister who jokes about price of steel and lies about consumers paying for it, or if you want a prime minister who doesn't realize how much steel you're using, it's not a good choice. So let's finish the video and put the message back on the screen. I'm gonna
These days, Todd.
lower this, make it smaller, vote for the change, vote for conservatives. That's all I can say. Again, we had 3 terms with liberals. If you're happy with the situation Canada is right now, I'm not gonna tell you who to vote. If you want change, it's easy. Vote for conservatives.